I managed to get this Italian passport in 3 months, and today I'm going to show you how. So the first thing I need to tell you is I got this by descent. That means I didn't naturalize, I didn't get it through marriage. I got it because I had Italian ancestry. So if you have no Italian ancestry whatsoever, this is not going to work for you. The good news is that Italy is actually quite flexible on how far apart you have to be from your ancestor to actually be eligible to get the passport. So if you maybe have a great grandpa, even a great great grandpa, as long as they were born after 1861, which is when Italy was founded, you could be eligible for a passport as well. So there are three main ways to actually get the citizenship. The first, and the one that takes the longest, is to go to a local consulate in your region and actually apply for the citizenship there. In the region that I'm from, it was taking about like between 7 and 9 years. So that is a really, really long time. My dad did that and he applied in 2013 and it got through in 2020. Unfortunately, since in 2020 I was over 18, I didn't automatically become Italian, so I had to do the system again. But instead of going through the route through the consulate, which takes a while, there are two other options. There's the judicial one, where you actually go directly to the courts, and this one apparently takes around between 1 and 2 years. I know people who did that as well. And the quickest one is actually one that I did, and it's going to be the one that I'm going to explain to you today. Regardless of which option you go for, you're going to need the same documents, which is birth certificates from your ancestor to you and marriage certificates from your ancestor and to your parents. So, for example, let's say it's your grandpa. You're going to need his birth certificate proving he was born in Italy, then his marriage certificate to your grandma, then your dad or your mom's birth certificate, then their marriage certificate to one another, and then your birth certificate. So, those five documents, they'll be maybe in English, in whatever language your country's from, and you're going to need to translate it with an official translator and into Italian so that it's actually a valid document in Italy as well. So whichever route you go through, you're definitely going to need those documents, and the first step is definitely to go and find them. As I was saying, the third route, that is the third option to get the citizenship, is to actually move to Italy and establish residency in one of their communes, which is equivalent to a city or a town hall or something like that. So I actually went to a place in Center Italy, more or less in the same latitude as Rome, which is more or less where my ancestor had come from. It was a symbolic measure, but it's not obligatory at all. You can choose anywhere in Italy that you want. Larger cities are normally going to take longer than smaller cities, so if you can choose, going for a smaller city is going to make the process a little bit quicker. If you're Canadian, American, and Australian, you actually have visa-free travel to Europe during 90 days. So what you can do is literally just hop onto Italy as a tourist, and then once you establish the residency and apply for the citizenship, they give you a special visa, which is a visa for people applying for citizenship, which allows you to stay there as a resident instead of as a tourist. By law, within 45 days of applying for the citizenship recognition, an officer has to pass by your house to check if you're there. If after 45 days the officer doesn't actually pass by, then it's automatically assumed that you do live there. So in 45 days, you're going to have that proof of residency. After that, the city is going to check all your documents to see if you're actually eligible and see if there's any mistakes in translations or something like that. Once they make sure that all your documents check out, the next thing they're going to do is message your consulate in your home country to make sure of something that they call non-renunciation. All this means is they're going to check if any of your ancestors renounced their citizenship, because if they did, then obviously you're not entitled to it because they can pass it on to you. But for most cases, they didn't renounce it and you're still eligible. The consulate has 30 days to respond to this, and once it does and everything checks out, they're going to call you and invite you in to actually sign on your citizenship documents. So one thing that's very interesting about this whole process is that they don't consider that you're naturalizing. They don't consider that they're giving you a citizenship. They consider that you're Italian from birth and that they just didn't know it yet. So what you're going to do is you're going to sign two documents. One is an Italian birth certificate, which confirms your birth and your parents and all that, but in Italian format, and you can keep that, and the commune keeps one of that as well. And then the second document, which is also going to be one for you and one for the commune, is a document that declares that you are an Italian citizen and that you have always been an Italian citizen. And then once that's done, there you go, you're Italian. So now you're Italian, but you have no proof of it. You have no ID, you have no passport. But within 7 days of signing those documents, the commune is actually going to emit this type of document over here, which is just an Italian ID. But since Italy is part of the EU, you can live, work, and travel within all of the European Union countries and also the associate states like Switzerland, Norway, Iceland, just by showing this at the border. You don't even need to use the passport. And then with this, you're officially a EU citizen. You have all the freedom of movement, but without the passport, you're not going to be able to travel as an Italian. So, for example, you're still going to have to use your other documents and your other passport to travel to countries outside of the EU. The last step is to apply for the passport as any other Italian would. So, you get your ID, you get a few photos and a few other documents as well. You go to the local authorities. You ask for the passport. It's been taking a while, but eventually you got the passport, and there you go. The passport's good for 10 years, and you can either keep living in Italy, live anywhere in the EU, or just travel as an Italian around the globe. I personally decided to stay in Italy for a while. I lived in Naples, I lived in Rome, I lived in Pescara as well. And then in June 2024, I came to Australia. Been living in Australia ever since, at least as of the time that I'm shooting this video. And one thing that's important that everyone tells you is that if you're actually going to leave Italy, you have to register on an Italian registry of international Italians, just telling them where you live, which country you live, and all that. It's a little bit bureaucratic. I don't really know or remember how I did it, but I have it. And of course, if you're just going to get the passport and then go somewhere else, or if eventually you move somewhere else, it's important that you actually get your registry as an Italian abroad as well. And last but not least, I actually want to thank the people of Italy, the country of Italy. It's an absolutely beautiful country. It's one of a kind, honestly. The cities, all the cities, even Naples, which people talk shit about a lot. I absolutely love the cities in Italy. I loved my time there, the year I spent living there, the travels I did there, and it was an amazing opportunity to actually be able to be an Italian in a way. I'm never going to be as Italian as someone who's born and grew up there, but day after day, I've been practicing my Italian for over a year now. I've worked in positions where I talked in Italian and all that, so I would consider my level of Italian decent. And yeah, just trying to be a little bit better every day. But it's truly a gigantic opportunity, and I'm eternally thankful to the country of Italy for that.